Welcome back. And so we begin with what transpired in the courts yesterday in the Federal Capital Territory. The Federal High Court yesterday was to hear, or heard rather, two cases. That of the former governor of Kaduna State, El-Rufai, who was being tried over the phone tapping charge. And of course, the activist, the online social media activist, Justice Chidebere, otherwise known as Justice Cracks, who is being tried for allegedly exposing welfare conditions in the Nigerian armed forces. And so, according to reports, security was rather tense, at the courts yesterday. But lawyers took the hit following what turned out to become fisticuffs between litigants and security. And there you have it. That's the footage of what happened at the courts yesterday. And one lawyer who took a hit from the security agents joins us now virtually to tell us what exactly happened. Mr. Chetamwala is a human rights lawyer. Mr. Nwala, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
Well, first of all, we empathize with you over what happened yesterday, and we saw in that video where you took the hit from one of the security agents. But even though there were two high-profile cases that were going to be heard at the courts yesterday, how come things degenerated, with security agents?
Okay, thank you. Before now, we have raised up this concern about how the DSS and the Federal High Court security have continued to handle situation around the Federal High Court gates. In short, before now, we had raised up the alarm that these guys would one day, somebody would die in front of the Federal High Court with the way they go about things, because it's really unprofessional. You cannot stop litigants who are genuinely coming to court, or lawyers who are coming to court, because you're bringing supposed high-profile personalities. Who is even a high-profile personality? We're all Nigerians. We're all Nigerians, for goodness sake. And we all have right to access to courts. And if we have the right to access to courts, which the law guarantees, the law is to the effect that court matters should be heard in public. And the court is the public space. You don't set up this type of security apparatus. I could remember during the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's era, we had situations where lawyers would be stopped from entering the courts. Even these days, we also have lawyers being stopped from entering the courts. And we have raised up this concern severally. We brought the Federal High Court. We have also shouted about this in the media. What happened yesterday was really terrible. In short, there were three matters of note, because Omoyele had his matter in court, which was part of the reasons I was in court. Justice Clark matter was also in court. We also had the El-Rufai matter in court. That is not enough for the DSS. In short, as at yesterday, we had the deployment of every sector of the Nigerian Security Agency at the Federal High Court. The army was there, the police was there, the civil defense was there, the DSS was there, and also private security firms were also on ground. Over what? What exactly is happening there? Are we fighting war in the court? Is the court a war ground or a battleground? That we see what was happening in Oyo, and our security agency shamelessly cannot deal with those issues. But it is on simple civilian, harmless civilians that we will now try to show strength. It's a sad situation. And what really happened yesterday was really pathetic, because I can tell you for free, a lot of lawyers were refused access into the courts. Not just that, we also had these guys harass lawyers, harass litigants. So as a matter of fact, in Justice Joyce Abdulmalik's court, Justice Abdulmalik's court, three matters, to the best of my knowledge, we are adjourned because I was in court. We are adjourned because the litigants, witnesses who were supposed to give testimonies in these matters, were not in court. And the counsel had informed the court to say, my lord, these guys are outside. They were refused entry by the DSS. The court told them clearly that this is not my business. How do you want me to even determine this particular circumstance? And on the strength of that, the matters were adjourned. Whether you like it or not, the lawyers will be paid. But it is the litigant who is actually losing. Is it the type of justice system we are creating? This type of justice system is not one that promotes justice at all, in any way. And we must be careful to deal with this particular issue. We cannot turn our courtrooms to be a battleground. What happened yesterday should teach us a lesson. But you know one thing about this country? we don't take anything serious until somebody dies. Until when these guys will put up a show in the court premises and somebody die in the process, that is when we will now become serious about it. The NBA is quiet about it.
Mr.
The
Nwala,
NBA president, as of today, has not issued any statement. And this is, it's very terrible how we
Mr.
deal with
Nwala,
issues. We are never proactive about anything in this country.
Mr. Nwala, we understand that in every institution there should be, security on ground. Are you telling us that the security on ground at the Federal High Court premises obeyed DSS orders to deny litigants entry into the court?
We don't know who gave the orders. For me, I don't know who gave the orders. But you see, they were working in harmony and in unity. Like I said before, we had the army who were a distance away from the gates. We had the civil defense who were in the gates. We had the police. We had the DSS themselves. And we also have the King's Guard security. Of course, when it is time, we'll know how to deal with them. The King's Guard security outfit, whose representative was that particular security officer who actually assaulted me personally and also assaulted other lawyers. You need to see what that particular person did to other lawyers. It was actually a mess yesterday. It was a mess. We can't run a country like this. We're not saying that you shouldn't bring security within the Federal High Court premises. But these guys must be professionals. They must act professionally. They cannot, at every point in time, stop lawyers from entering into the court premises. For goodness sake, the court premises is our farm. That is where we feed from. That is where we go to actually defend the average man on the street. But if you now prevent us from access to justice, access to the court, you're infringing on our own fundamental human rights as lawyers, you're infringing on our rights as citizens, and that cannot be done. What is a country without access to justice? If you prevent us from having access to the court, you are preventing us from access to justice. How then do we get justice? How then do we defend ourselves in circumstances of this magnitude? It tells you that this system has degenerated to the point that we need to take action. And if action is not taken, what will happen someday at the Federal High Court gate will be terrible that we will all be regretting it in this country.
So, Mr. Nwala, let's talk about this particular incident. Was there a verbal exchange that happened between you and the gentleman? What are you going to do about him? Because we can clearly see who he is. Was he given an order to stop you? Why was he stopping you? Why did he lay his hands on you? Just because we're not there, maybe we may not be able to make sense of the video itself. But what we can see is that he actually hit you on the face, and you guys were talking. I don't know what you were saying to him and what he was saying to you. What exactly happened?
You know, when I came to the Federal High Court, I observed a lot of persons were outside the gate, including lawyers and litigants. And I asked for one of my colleagues, I asked them, I said, what exactly is the challenge? Why are you guys still outside? They said they were prevented from having access to the court premises. And I went to the gate, I asked them, I said, see, what is the challenge? I have a matter in court today. I am fully robed. You're seeing that I'm a lawyer, I'm fully dressed for the day's business. That we have a matter in court today. And I need to go in because I even came late. I came about almost 9 o'clock or even past 9. I got to court and I was even rushing. I said, I have a matter in court today and my matter will soon be called up. Please allow us access. They said no. That they have an instruction that we should not get in. I said, no, that cannot be. That this is wrong. You cannot stop litigants. At that point, I told them, see, you can't stop litigants, you can't stop counsels from having access to the court premises. That is unheard of. It's not done. It's not done. But you know, of course, the people on ground there had been this rowdiness around the people on ground there who started dragging the gates and having issues with them at the court premises. And on the strength of that, we also in our demands for this whole thing. So what the security guys did was to come up, pick up on me because I was very loud about my demand and insistence that litigants and lawyers must be allowed to have access to the courts. And he eventually bounced on me, not just on me, on even other lawyers on ground there. Dealt with other lawyers on ground. And this is the type of country we run. That a security man would actually come and actually take up the actions he took. It's like a normal thing. Because this is not the first time they are doing this at the Federal High Court.
Just a moment, sir. What kind of security? Is it the court security? The gentleman?
Now, there is this security firm attached to the Federal High Court called King's Guard.
Okay.
They are attached to the Federal High Court. That is alongside the police, the civil defense, and all that they attach to the court. They have a private security firm attached to the Federal High Court. And the office, the guy in question, the security man in question, is actually from the private security firm.
Okay. So are you taking any action? Do you know his name? Are you taking any action against the security firm?
Of course. Personally, I have actually briefed my lawyers on this particular matter, and we're definitely not going to take this matter lightly. We're definitely going to take action on it as it is today. We're going to take action on it, certainly. I've actually briefed them, and certain actions will be taken.
So beyond seeking redress, another aspect which is at the heart of the matter is that apart from the concern that the wheels of justice grind slowly, this is a needless delay, in the wheels of justice. You said earlier that word got to Honorable Justice Joyce Abdul-Malik that some of the litigants for the case were outside, and the justice said, no, I cannot intervene in that matter. That is none of my business. I wonder what the rules of court, are in the justice system if a litigant is running late and, they're just somewhere nearby. Are you going to be taking this up with the Ministry of Justice, as an association of lawyers in the Federal Capital Territory? Because time and again, we hear about such happenings, at the court premises, at the security point. So how should this be approached?
No, it's very sad that the NBA, which happens to be our umbrella organization, is yet to even take actions with respect to these menaces happening in our court premises. It's really very unfortunate that the NBA has decided to be quiet about it and to allow this continue, because the NBA naturally should be the one to protect litigants and to protect lawyers in this circumstance. Every day at the gates of the Federal High Court, we see lawyers being harassed by both the DSS, by the police, by the military establishment. Every week we find this happen. And lawyers have continued to shout, but you don't expect us as lawyers to now start join in street fights with some of these people on the street. It doesn't make any sense, because by our training and by our own calling, we should actually be able to control our emotions when it comes to this particular issue. It's not because we do not have the physical strength to embark on such particular charade. But the point is this. The profession actually prevents you from engaging yourself in that particular light. And when you see that lawyers continuously are being harassed by people they know ordinarily, if you leave the two of them on a fair ring, that they will not be able to get this particular harassment, you agree with me completely that these issues will be dealt with. So the NBA naturally will expect the NBA to speak up and to address this particular issue. But sadly, the NBA has not been able to do that. I can't for one. The best I can do is to actually raise up the concern with the NBA. But whether the NBA takes action or not really relies on the leadership of the NBA, which is a very unfortunate situation and circumstance in this particular situation. This is not the first time we are having this thing happen at the Federal High Court. It is not the first time. And trust me, if nothing is done, it will not be the last time. The reason why we are making and shouting all these things is because we need to stop this madness happening at the gate of the Federal High Court. If you want to provide security, your duty is to make sure that those coming into the Federal High Court premises are not armed and there are no security threats to the proceedings going on in court. Not stopping them outrightly from having access to justice, from having access to the courts when they have matters in court. You can't do that. It is not within your purview. And for me, that's a wrong action. And that's why we are saying that this should not happen. This should not be seen to happen. It doesn't make any sense.
Indeed.
The court is a public space for everybody to have access to.
Indeed.
So we cannot restrict people and restrain them from having access to the court, especially when they have business to do in the court on that particular day.
Indeed, Mr. Nwala, and if the DSS or the private security firm, the court premises of the Federal High Court of Abuja, have any contrary account as to what exactly transpired yesterday, this is a direct invitation to their representatives to come, give their own right of reply and help us understand, from their own perspective what exactly happened. But we must thank you, Mr. Chetamwala, for, giving us an insight into what happened at the courts yesterday. And courts being delayed over mere disagreements about who should be in court, especially when litigants have issues in court, should certainly be discouraged. Mr. Chetamwala is a lawyer and human rights activist who has joined us from our Abuja studio on this one. Thank you so much for coming through on this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me.